I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead of say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
And now, Mike's thoughts. As we travel through the darkness into the light, as we travel from our dark retreat into the light. Guys, could Amazon Prime have not done this a little bit better? Could they have not done this ploy just a little bit better? What I'm talking about is Aaron Rodgers, believe 2 weeks ago, said sometimes you have to come out of the darkness into the light to be successful. Amazon Prime last night on Thursday Night Football played that over and over and over again. They beat it into submission over and over and over again. It got to the point where I had to turn off the freaking broadcast, like the sound, because I got tired of hearing it. Oh, they're coming into the light. They're coming out of the darkness into the light. Oh, we hit the light. If you're going to do it right. If you're going to do the ploy, do it right. Hammer it home once or twice, and bada bing, bada boom, move on. Right? They had the blackout jerseys. They had the back out logo. They had a blacked out end zone. They had the into the darkness night or whatever it was. It was Halloween. We get it. But man, they overplay that. Man, they're just like, darkness. I'm like, shut the F up at the end of the day. We get it. You want to use this ploy, we understand. I'm going to do the whole show in the dark. I'm going to do the whole show in the dark so I can come into the light. So I can be like Amazon Prime and beat it home. Beat the dead horse over and over and over and over again. Come on, Amazon Prime. We tired. We tired of it. We are tired of it. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation. Rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour Show, the manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Check out the blogs as well. But most importantly, right now, there's a Discord. Down in the link below, in the description, there's a link to a Discord. Join the Discord. Go over there. Rep your team. Talk shit to other teams. But most importantly, if you guys want to stream, or if you guys want to watch some NFL games, if you are a Colts fan and you do not get the Colts games, if you are Raiders fans, you do not get the Raiders game, and you want to watch those said games, I will be streaming them on the Discord. We stream 2 games in the afternoon, 2 games in the evening, and of course the Sunday night game and Monday night games as well. Of course, Thursday night games as well. So we're giving you we're giving you 12 NFL games a week over there on the Discord. So all you gotta do is become a member. But if you want to pick what games are streamed over there, become a Pigskin Pundit. Be like Laura, be like Jim, be like John, be like James, be like John, be like Drew, be like Nana, and become a Pigskin Pundit. All you gotta do is click on the link below, be subscribed to the channel, bada bing, bada boom, you can become a Pigskin Pundit. You get the free merch, you get the free State of the Unions, you get some behind the scenes footage, you get a ghost into my life a little bit, bada bing, bada boom. Just got to be Pigskin Pundit. But guys, it is Friday edition here at manhourradio.com. NFL Talk live, raw, and uncut. We are going to do must-win Sundays. We are going to go around the NFL landscape, and I picked out 4 games about teams that are potentially in must-win situations. Rams versus Seahawks, Colts versus Vikings, Cowboys versus Falcons, and of course, the Broncos versus the Ravens. We're going to determine which team needs that most, who is the most win for this week, and of course, it is Contender or Pretender Friday. It is Contender or Pretender Friday. We have 4 teams that we're going to determine if they're contenders or if they're pretenders. And we're going to start with the Houston Texans. Are they contenders or are they still pretenders, right? And then the New York Jets slide in there. The New York Jets have that big win. Are they contenders or pretenders? What? And of course, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Sorry, Kaylee. We got to determine if they're contenders or pretenders. And the Minnesota Vikings slide into the contender or pretender list as well. So we got those 4 teams. We got those 4 games. But before we get too carried away, we have to welcome some people in the chat. We have to get over into the chat because this is the only live interactive show where I try to address all the comments that I can. We have open discussion and we talk shit. This is the only show you're going to get that you can actually interact with somebody in the show real time. And Jim Powell is in the chat. The CEO of the Pigskin Pundit says, you have looked the best ever. Meaning, when I was in the darkness, John says, you never looked good. you never looked better. Should I turn off the lights, Jim? Should we go back into the darkness and then come back into the light? Should we? John Peebles is in the chat. Another Pigskin Pundit says, now you see as much as the refs do. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. It was a face mask, but he was in a bad position. He was shielded by Sam Darnold's big-ass shoulders looking to the left and going for the left. Come on now. Come on. We got Laura in the chat today as well. She says, good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon. And she says, you better not do the show in the dark. You better not do the show in the dark because, did you guys know? This is the 500th live that we have done on Man Hour. This is the 500th live Man Hour show that I have done. We started Man Hour back in 2022. Started the NFL season. It was me and Beastie Combs. And since then, Beastie has gone on to greener pastures. He's now working with some Bet USA radio station up there in Chicago, doing his thing. We brought in Hoffy and Mark D and kind of sprinkled their little taste in there, but really it's just been me. For the last 500 episodes, it has been the man, the myth, the legend sitting here in front of you. And 500 episodes in, guys. We are 2.5 years into this thing, and 500 episodes. It adds up. It adds up quick, right? Back in 2022, I'm like, hey, honey, I'm going to do this 5 days a week. I think I can entertain people. I think that I can make them laugh and question and get mad and angry, and that's what I like to do. And she's like, go for it. 500 episodes later, we are here. So this is episode 500. Guys, I had no idea. I was uploading the podcast late last night, and it was like $4.98, and then today was $4.99, and then, it would have been Thursday was $4.99, and today happened to fall on Friday, November 1st, 2024, 1:30 p.m. East Coast time. I'm like, episode 500. Wow. Wrap your head around that. And by golly, like, I haven't even scratched the surface of like what I want to do, right? Like, I have visions in my head what I want to do for this show, and I'm obviously by myself. Everything I do is solo, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that, right? How to write scripts and cameras and all that stuff. But it is coming. I am working diligently to get better. Always trying to improve. 1% better. James Frank is in the chat today too. Says, what up? James, your Browns about to shock some people again this weekend? Are they? And Laura says, I am the only Laura Pigskin Pundit. All you other Lauras, get out of here. We can have 4 or 5 Johns, but there's only going to be one Laura as the Pigskin Pundit. Jim says, you got to warn a mofo if you're coming in back with the lights on. I can shut the lights off, guys. I can shut the lights off, and we can do the whole show in the dark. We can do the whole show in the dark and, come into the light like Aaron Rodgers did, like the Jets, and how, who is it? Chris Herbstreit and Al Michaels. I love Al Michaels. I love how blatantly honest he is, like on those play by plays. He's like, I didn't see no foul there. That was just stupid. That was terrible. I've been loving me some Al Michaels as of lately. But coming into the light. Laura says, I'm going to try to hang out as long as I can. I've been up since 2 a.m. at work. Laura, I feel your pain. Laura, because back when I did work my full-time job, I was up at 3 a.m. every day. Go to work at 4 a.m., right? Worked that 4 to 1 shift, doing IT work. Come home and do the show. Hello, guys. Go and coach football up till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I get it, Laura. But sit back in your chair, Laura. Put your headphones in and put the phone on the old belly and just watch it. John says, how about that left knee party last night, winning play? So let's talk a little bit about that play. So obviously Devontae Adams' touchdown pass was the one that sealed it, but Garrett Wilson's one-handed jump man catch, right? He's like, oh, give me that. Poof, right? was an amazing play. He caught the ball and definitely balled out. But did he really catch the ball? Did he really catch that ball? Because just a couple weeks ago, I actually posted it on our Facebook page earlier, right? We saw, was it George Pickens for the Seattle Seahawks, literally jump 2 times on his right foot, like, nope, incomplete pass. You have to have 2 different feet down. You have to have, AKA, both feet down. Not 2 right feet, not 2 left feet. You have to have left and a right. But then, flash forward to Garrett Wilson's catch. He clearly got 1 foot down. Well, okay, first things, I'm not taking away from the catch whatsoever. I could never do that. I can never run the route, bend it in, and then jump back and catch it with one-handed and then bring it in. And then you saw the slow-mo. You saw his eyes looking for the inline. Great body awareness, right? I am not taking anything away from Garrett Wilson whatsoever. That was an amazing play. But he did get his right foot down. Was it right foot? No, it was the left foot. He got the left foot down, and then he got the left shin down. He got the left shin down. Now, me looking at it personally, I thought the shin and knee hit at the same time, and the knee was out of bounds, but the shin was inbounds. Since when does a shin become a knee? That's the real question. Since when did a shin on your leg become your knee? Because I thought you had to have a knee down to count as 2 feet, not a shin. Honestly, I am confused of what a catch is in the NFL as is, right? Nowadays, you have to catch the ball, you have to get 2 feet down, and then you have to make a NFL move. So therefore, there's 3 parts to a catch, right? You have to catch the ball, secure it, 2 feet down, and then make a football play. I mean, I still think Dez caught it. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, Dez caught it. But I personally think Garrett Wilson was out of bounds. I think he was out of bounds. I mean, obviously it was a bang-bang play, and credit is due, right? He caught the ball. This could be game-changing. That could be a game or a season-changing play for the New York Jets in that particular game. But I think the refs on the field got it right, and I just don't know what a catch is anymore. Do you guys think he caught it? I mean, obviously he caught it, but was he in bounds? I don't know. I don't think he was in bounds. I don't think he actually caught it. I don't know. James Frank says, congratulations on 500. Let's go, right? 500. The sky is the limit in a wheezy voice. You can do it. Easy F Wheezy, baby. Right. A little bit of Lil Wayne. Laura says, I wish I would have been here since the beginning. I'm so glad I ran across this page. Laura, curious question. How did you run across this page? Was it me sharing the NFL game picks to a Minnesota Vikings page? Or I'm curious of how people do find the page. Because, right, when we first started, it was my Nana and my wife that watched it, right? And then granted, we don't have thousands of people tuning into a live feed, but my Facebook reach is in the millions, right? There are millions of people every month interacting with our content out there on Facebook. YouTube, we're in about the 250,000 range, right? Between all the shorts and clips and videos, right? We're about that 250,000 range. So I'm just curious of how people actually see it, right? She says it randomly showed up in my news feed. So Facebook algorithm doing his thing, I reckon, right? Doing his thing. James Frank says, shh, on my Browns. Don't be talking about my Browns. We don't like the hype. We don't want no hype here in Cleveland, says James. James, we're going to hype your Browns up. We are going to hype your Browns up. Laura says, my question is, why in the heck did the Jets even win? Well, Laura, when the Jets are contenders, is that a spoiler? When the Jets are contenders, you have to win some games to make it into the playoffs. Now, in hour number 2, we're going to be talking about contenders and pretenders. We got to talk about the New York Jets. We got to talk about the catch. We got to talk about Devontae Adams. We got to talk about Aaron Rodgers coming out of the darkness into the light. I got about 10 more times I'm going to mention that, guys, so be sure to make like a tally, because sometimes you have to suffer in the darkness before you can come into the light. James is how it popped up on his. I was just scrolling and it popped up on my news feed. Glad that happened, guys. I'm glad you guys happened. I'm glad you guys are glad you guys are enjoying the content. I've tried to make it likable, lovable, and we like to interact with people. We like to, shoot the shit per se. Shoot the shit. And Laura says, I think it's because I'm a football person. The live came across with the algorithm. Yep. Algorithms are a powerful tool. The TikTok algorithm is crazy, right? I can be sitting there on the old pooper, just scrolling, done doing the dirty deed, right? Next thing I know, my feet are falling asleep. I'm like, oh shit, been like 40 minutes. It is what it is. But guys, let's get into today's show. It is must-win Sunday here in Week NFL 9 season. I feel like there are 4 games that really need to buckle down and focus on, and some teams need some must-win things. Oh, my man Mark D popped up. What's up, Mark? What's up? But the first game that I want to talk about, the first game that we need to discuss, the first game that is a must-win for somebody in this particular game is the Dallas Cowboys taking on the mighty, that's right, I said mighty Atlanta Falcons. If you look at the rosters, look at the schedules right now, the Atlanta Falcons right now are sitting at 5-3 on the season. They are first place in the NFC South with a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they own the tiebreaker, so it's like a game and a half. I'm not for sure how the math, but it's a 1 game in the win column and like a 2 game in actual life because they own the tiebreaker, right? The Cowboys are sitting at 3-4 on the season. The Cowboys are in 3rd place in the NFC East. They are playing bad football right now. Everybody's saying fire everybody, bench everybody, do this, do that, yada, yada, yada. When we look at the schedules moving forward, the Atlanta Falcons play the division foe in the New Orleans Saints next week. Then they play the Denver Broncos. Then they play the Chargers, and then the Vikings in the next 4 weeks after they do play the Dallas Cowboys. And they are coming off a huge win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in Week 8. When we look at the Dallas Cowboys, they're on a 2-game losing streak. They're not playing good football. Fire everybody says everybody, right? After this game versus the Falcons, they play a team that's up and coming in the Philadelphia Eagles. They play a team that we're going to talk about later in the Houston Texans. Then they play the Commanders. And then they play the New York Giants. Their schedule does not get easy at all. So when we sit back and we look at this Week 9 matchup, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Dallas Cowboys, we got to ask you guys the question. I got to ask you guys this question. Who needs this game more? Who has to come out? And this is a must-win situation. This is a game-changing win on one way or the other for which team? The Dallas Cowboys or the Atlanta Falcons? When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they are supposed to be good. Look at the roster. Look at years past. Look at history. They're supposed to have a good regular season. They're supposed to make it to the playoffs and then get beat. They're supposed to be a 12, 13-win team leading the East. Well, they're not. But most importantly right now, the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons have to win this game. This is a must-win game in Week 9 for the Atlanta Falcons. They have playoff dreams. They have playoff aspirations. And if they want to make a deep playoff run, they cannot lose to a team like the Dallas Cowboys. They cannot lose to teams like the, who else they got coming up here? They cannot lose to the Broncos or the Chargers or the Vikings. The Vikings have to, the Falcons have to make a statement this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. And if they want to make a deep playoff run, they need a home game or 2. And it starts by right now by beating the Dallas Cowboys. It starts this week by going to 6-3, getting a 2-game lead or a 3-game lead or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they have to have at least 2 playoff games to really make that deep run. And it starts this week when they go out there and they're a must-win situation versus the Dallas Cowboys. Because I do not like their schedule moving forward. The Broncos and Chargers and Vikings, guys, those are really sneakily good teams and teams that could come up and bite the Falcons in the butt really, really bad. And we all know how Kirk Cousins and the Vikings situation happened. So the Vikings will be like, hey, you know what? It's time, baby. So, guys, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys game, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, who needs this game more? Who needs this game more and why? Let's go ahead and jump over into the comments and see what the people are saying. Let's see what get the people going. Laura says, go Falcons, and then she puked in her mouth a little bit. Laura is saying, go Falcons, because she loves her some Kirk Cousins, but she's puking in her mouth anymore. It says, nope, can't root for either, though. She can't root for either team, but the Falcons have to win this game. The Falcons are in a must-win situation. And Laura, let me ask you this question. Why do they need this win more? Why are they in the must-win situation? Is it because of playoff chances? Can they not play a playoff game on the road, right? They're in a dome. They play a lot of fair weather games. I would hate to see the mighty Kirk Cousins have to go into, I don't know, Green Bay in snow and try to compete. I don't know if he can, to be honest. James Frank, my man, Mr. Browns fan himself, he knows all about trying to build a culture, and he says the Falcons got to do it. The Falcons are in a must-win situation because they're building it for the culture. He says the Falcons are on ground level. They're building a culture. And this win over the Dallas Cowboys puts up the first story of this culture that they're trying to build. Puts up the first culture. And you know what? I agree. I agree with all the collusion that is happening, all of the past flunkings of the Falcons, right? Back when they got the tight end Pitts, right? People are like, oh, Pitts and Drake London going to do good things. They haven't done shit until this season, right? Is it because of Kirk Cousins? Is it because of coaching? Or is it because of the culture? I don't know. This year, they're performing. They're doing good things. And if you lose to a team that you're supposed to beat, if you lose to the Dallas Cowboys this week, it might all be for nothing, right? Because this is a game that could really derail your season, to be honest. If you are the Atlanta Falcons, right? You have beaten good teams, if not great teams, so far this season. They have beaten the Bucs, right? They battled the Pittsburgh Steelers week number 1. Brand new offense, brand new quarterback, new system, whatever, right? You can blame it on whatever you want, but they ultimately fell short of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We see now how good the Pittsburgh Steelers actually are. They've beaten the Eagles. They've beaten the Bucs twice. They lost to the Seahawks, yes. But this, James, I think you're right. I think this is a season-defining game for the Atlanta Falcons. This is a game that, yeah, if you win 11, 12, 13 wins is not out of the reach, right? But if you lose this game, not only lose this game, but lose at home, losing back-to-back home games, then you have a division foe in the Saints coming up. You travel to New Orleans, tough place to play. You travel to Mile High Stadium, even tougher place to play. Then you welcome the Chargers and then go to Vikings in Las Vegas. This could get out of hand quickly. If the Falcons lose this game, losing 2 other of their last 3, both of them which are home games, this could be a 500 team before we know it. That drops them to 5-4 on the season, and then you lose to the Saints on the road the following week. All of a sudden, you are 5-5. All of a sudden, you're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. This is 100% must win. And culture building, I like what you said about that, James. I like the culture building aspect. I think the culture building is the big thing. Definitely a culture building. Laura says Cousins isn't going to get there looking like he did in the playoffs versus the Vikings, just saying. So Kirk Cousins needs to elevate his game as well. Stop being a little pansy, Kurt. Step up and ball out. And she says, yes, I'm still a Kirk Cousins hater. He's still on my hate list. He's getting no Christmas card from me. No Christmas card from me. So must win. Who needs it more? Actually, obviously the Cowboys need it more, but who must win this game? And this is a season-defining game for the Atlanta Falcons. My eyes will be on this game, watching it, hoping for the best, prepared for the worst, because the Falcons could make some noise. The Falcons could be one of the teams that could come up and bite the Green Bay Packers or the Lions or the Bucs in the playoffs. And it starts this week. Laura says she vetoed. She's no longer a Kirk Cousins president. So if you guys did not know, Laura was the president of the Kirk Cousins fan club. She invited all of her friends to all these parties, all of these gatherings. They were wearing their purple Kirk Cousins jerseys game after game and boosting him up, and they would go into Target and boost up that Target stock. And now she's like, you know what? I'm vetoed. I am no longer the president of the Kirk Cousins fan club. Get me out of here. Actually, I even think Laura vetoed Target too. She's like, I'm not even going to Target anymore. That man makes Target look bad too. Give me back Kmart. Give me back Price Chopper. Give me back Meijer. Hell, give me a little bit of Walmart. I don't care. Anything but Target. Anything but Target. Kaylee, what's up, Kaylee? Kaylee's in the chat. We talked about your Bengals later. The Bengals later. He says the Falcons must win, but Dallas needs it more. You are correct. Dallas does need a win. Dallas Cowboys need a win in a bad, bad way. Let's just be honest. But I think you're right. I think the Falcons do need it more. And Laura's like, oh no, stop it. Laura says, do not bring my Kirk Cousins fandom into this. It was a time in my life. It was a season in my life that I wish to forget. I wish to forget that I was a Kirk Cousins lover. I forget to wish that I was the president of his fan club. I choose to forget that he was my life and pride and joy for 3 years. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. James says, yes, a win will bring them more out of the locker room up even more and gives them more motivation to play harder. Not wrong. Not wrong. James, do you guys not have Price Chopper where you're from? So, I mean, obviously here in like Indiana, we have shit for change, right? All we have is like Walmart and Target and Meijer, which Meier's awesome. Walmart is subpar. It's terrible. But back home in Kansas City, we had a place. It was a grocery store, much like Meijer and Walmart, a little bit of Target, right? It was called Price Chopper. If you ever listen to the Kansas City Chiefs radio broadcast, you'll hear Mitch Holster goes, Price Chopper. It's actually pretty good. So I don't know. Do you guys have Price Choppers there where you're from, James? Assuming your Ohio area. I don't know. Is it just a Kansas thing? I don't know. Shoot. I need to be more cultured. And Kaylee says Laura does have a Kirk Cousins jersey. It's autographed with hearts around it, she says. And she says, I actually have a Cousins jersey still with the tags on it. So not only does Laura have a Kirk Cousins jersey, it still has the tags on it. It is autographed with hearts around it and Kirk Cousins' phone number. So I'm just saying. Mark D says we have a Spooners in Colorado, which is basically a Kroger. And Mark, we have a Dillon's in Kansas, which is basically a Kroger too, right? And actually we have a company called JC here, like JAY-C. That is a Kroger brand as well. So I think Kroger has a lot of subdivisions, right? It's Kroger and then a lot of boom, boom, boom. Spooners, or Soopers. Supers? I don't know. James says, we have a Piggly Wiggly in West Virginia. We're getting a Piggly Wiggly here. People are going crazy about Piggly Wigglies. I never heard of a Piggly Wiggly till about 3 months ago. I'm like, what is it? And I Google it. I'm like, oh shit. Buc-ee's here. Piggly Wiggly's up here. So get excited about some Piggly Wigglies. This is what it's like to be on Man Hour, guys. We talk about whatever we want. Piggly Wigglies, Buc-ee's, Kroger's, Spoopers. Mark, how do you say that? You have to tell me on Saturday how you say that. Supers. So yeah, it is what it is. And Laura says, oh, excuse me while I have a discussion with Kaylee. She is in trouble for talking shit. A little mother-daughter rivalry going on. Daughter's a Bengals fan. Other daughter, or mommy, is a Vikings fan. And she's spilling the guts. King Supers. Supers. Isn't there a King Supers on King of the Hill? What is that? No, what was that name of the grocery store on King of the Hill? Was it Save something? Save a Mark or something? I don't remember. She's lying. She's not going to do nothing. She lying. But Falcons versus Dallas Cowboys. Who needs it more? I think everybody is in agreement. I think we need the Atlanta Falcons need this game a little bit more. Speaking of needing it a little bit more, we talked to a game that's been flexed. A game that was at 1 o'clock on Sunday and now is Sunday Night Football, and that is the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we've heard the stories about the Colts all week long. We've heard that Joe Flacco will be starting over Anthony Richardson after he was benched for tapping himself out last week versus the Houston Texans. Now, we understand he wasn't really benched because he tapped himself out. He was, quote, playing bad. No, you tapped yourself out, man. That's why you're getting benched. But the Colts right now, guys, are 4-4 on the season, sitting in second place in the AFC South. The Vikings, on the other hand, started out hot. 5-0 on the season, second place in the power ranking. We're talking about Super Bowl, Kirk Cousins, who? Hello, Sam Darnold. Hello, baby. But then they lose to the Detroit Lions by 2 points, and then they lose by 10 points to the LA Rams, which I told you what was going to happen, making them 5-2 on the season. And they went from first place to third place in the NFC North over the last 2 weeks. But they are only one game behind the Detroit Lions in first place. So when we look at the Colts versus Vikings, we got to ask ourselves, who needs this game more? Who is in a must-win situation in the Colts versus the Minnesota Vikings? When you look at the Colts schedule, beyond this Sunday Night Football game, they play a team in the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills that are playing pretty damn good football right now. Then they play a team in the New York Jets. We cannot be sleeping on the Jets no more. When we talk about the Jets, if they're contenders or pretenders moving forward, but right now the Jets are on cloud 9. They're playing some good football. And then they play a team, arguably the best team in the NFL, in the Detroit Lions. And then they have a weaker opponent, air quotes there, in the New England Patriots in the upcoming 4 weeks after the Sunday Night Football game. The Minnesota Vikings. They got the little bit easier schedule. When I say easier, I mean they got a lot easier schedule. They play the Jaguars, which are terrible. They play the Titans, which are terrible. Then they play the division foe in the Chicago Bears, which will be terrible. And then, after all that, they do play the Arizona Cardinals, which is terrible. So, we see their schedules, we see their records, we see what they're playing for, so we have to ask ourselves, who needs this win more? And when I was looking at games, I'm saying, what are some must-win games for these situations? And I saw this Colts game. I saw them in second place. I saw them at 4-4. And my gut's like, you know what? The Colts need this win. The Colts need this win. If they're going to try to keep pace with the Houston Texans, they need this win. They need an easy win. They need to get right? But from what I've seen last night with the Houston Texans, maybe the Texans are not that great, and they don't really need this win. And then I flash back to Monday's show and Tuesday's show and Wednesday's show when Laura was bringing up her Minnesota Vikings, and I started to ponder. I go out there into these Minnesota groups, and I see what are people saying about the Minnesota Vikings. And Laura, they've been echoing everything that you say. They say, when the Minnesota Vikings lose, they come in bunches. They don't have a 1 loss here or 2 losses here. They come in 3, 4, 5 stretches year after year after year. The Vikings now have 2 losses in a row, and they cannot lose 3 in a row, because then I do believe it could come in bunches. Yes, they do play the Jaguars, Titans, and Bears, all winnable games, but when you're down on your luck, things are not looking too very good. So when we look at this game, who needs this win more? Who has to win this game to really get back on track? Like I said, my gut tells me the Colts. My gut say the Colts have to win this game. But I'm saying the Minnesota Vikings. I'm saying the Minnesota Vikings because if they want to make a playoff run and if they want to win the division, this is a must-win game. They have to break this losing streak. Yes, I know it's only 2 games, back-to-back losses. It's technically not a streak, but NFL, when you only play 18 or 17 games, 2 games is a lot. 3 games in a row is a bunch. This is a losing streak. They must get back on track. They have to break this losing streak. Now, I do understand that I've said that the Jags and Titans are not good, but they aren't that bad either, right? Meaning you cannot overlook them. And if the Vikings were to lose this game to the Indianapolis Colts, they could be licking their wounds like, oh, man, here we go again. We could be talking about a quarterback change. We could be talking about who are we going to bring in to help this team? Where do we need help? Yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, you lose to the Jaguars. All of a sudden, you do lose to the Titans. And those 3-game losing streak becomes a 5-game losing streak. And then now all of a sudden you're 5-5. All of a sudden you are outside of the playoffs looking in. All of a sudden you're like, oh crap, what do we do? The Indianapolis Colts, they have been here. They have done that, right? They lost to a good Texans team. Let's just be honest. They lost to a good Texas team. Joe Flacco will right this ship at some point. And the Colts always seem to play well. The Colts are a team that always plays up to the competition or down to the competition. So when they play the Buffalo Bills in Indy next week, they'll play up to the Buffalo Bills. When they play the Jets, they'll play down to the Jets. When they play the Lions, they'll play up to the Lions. So I don't expect the Colts to have bunches of losses. They have the culture. They have the mindset to really break this up. The Vikings need to stop this now. The Vikings need to stop putting the Band-Aid over the wound and go to the doctor and get it stitched up. And this week versus the Indianapolis Colts is that stitching process. They need to stop the bleeding and they need to win. This is a must-win for the Minnesota Vikings. So, guys, when we ask the question, who needs to win this game more, let me know. In the comments below, let me know. Propane and propane accessories. We were talking about King of the Hill earlier, and I love it. Kaylee says the Colts are going to win. Kaylee says the Colts are going to go into Indianapolis, in Minnesota, and they're going to blow that skull horn. They're going to say, skull, skull, skull. They can do whatever they want. They can get hyped, but it doesn't matter. Because when the all-white horseshoes come into town, they're going to spank that baby and say, bad baby, bad baby. JJ who? Addison who? Sam, go back to New York because you're not welcome here no more. Kaylee says she's going to whoop that ass. James Frank says, Laura, I'm sorry, but Flacco riding in on his high horse and he's going to ball. James says, flack around and find out. James says, hold my beer. Joe Flacco might be 47 years old, but damn it, he is going to go into Minnesota. He's going to whoop that ass. Man, y'all on some Colts high rider. Put those guys away. Y'all being crazy right now. You guys are all swinging from the hip saying Colts, 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 Colts. Boom. Did the whole triple flip even. Poof. Chuck Norris ain't got nothing on y'all. And Laura says, hey, let me bring some reasoning in here. Let me reel you all back in. The Vikings need it more so people can stop laughing at us. Laura says right now the Vikings are the lacking stock of the NFL. They started out 5-0. They were hot. They were sizzling, baby. We were sitting there simmering, starting to get hot. We're starting to boil. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes and puts some cold water in there. Somebody comes in and puts some cold water and stopped everything. And now, my kids are mad because the macaroni is not going to be done by 5 o'clock. And now my husband is mad because I'm not going to have macaroni with my fried chicken. And now everybody's laughing at us because I don't know how to cook macaroni. That's what Laura is saying is happening with the Minnesota Vikings right now. She says the Minnesota Vikings have to win so the NFL can stop laughing at us. They're not laughing at you. They're laughing with you, Laura. I kid. But you are right. The Vikings need this win more, I think. I think you're right, Laura. Kaylee says, Laura, you always will be laughed back as being a Vikings fan. Vikings get good, and then they flop. Whew. Some friendly fire happening in the comments, and I love it. Kaylee says, you know what? Every time you get your water start to boiling, every time there's a steady boiler going, I'm going to make you say, Mom, I need some help. And you're going to walk around the kitchen. Mama's going to walk this way. You come this way. You're going to pour that cold water in there, and you're going to walk around and be like, why isn't the macaroni done? Why isn't the macaroni done? You had the water boiling. What happened? Did you turn the burner down? It's just all your fault. Laura says, it's okay, y'all. She says, slow it down, baby. Vikings suck right now, and I can admit it. And I don't think the Vikings suck. I just think the Vikings are being... No, and I wouldn't say out-coached because I think Kevin O'Connell should win Coach of the Year, honestly. He's doing a great thing. It's just you played a gauntlet of a couple teams, right? The Detroit Lions, a really good team. Let's just sit back and ponder. They're a really, really good team. And the Rams, short work week on the road. Rams get back Cup. They get Nuka back, Puka back, and they're just riding the right horse. I'm just saying. Just saying. James says it's absolutely the Vikings. The Vikings need this win more. I don't think they'll win, though, says James, but I think the Vikings need it more. And James, I think you're right. I think the Vikings do need it more. Vikings are going to lose out for the rest of the season. So Laura is a Vikings fan. I see her picture. It looks like a yellow Vikings jersey. I don't know who it is. It's probably Kirk Cousins still. But as a Vikings fan, she says, we're going to lose out for the rest of the season. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen, Laura. I do not want the Chicago Bears to win any more games. I do not want the Detroit Lions to beat you guys. I don't want the Green Bay Packers to beat you guys, even though there's a cheesehead right there. Go Pack, go. They're not going to lose out. They're not going to lose out. We also have a Safeway. Man, we got into a gas station conversation, and I love it. I love it. Well, since you said the schedule, I think the Colts do. They need to start stacking up wins now. So James is flip-flopping. At first, he's like, the Vikings need it more. 2-game losing streak, lost to the Lions, lost to the Rams. They do play the Colts this week, but then they follow up the Jaguars, Titans, and Bears, and Cardinals. All very winnable games. Then we look at the Colts schedule. Bills, Jets, Lions, Patriots. James like, you know what? Come to think of it, maybe the Colts do need this game more. Maybe the Colts need to start stacking up those wins. And James, you are correct. They need to start stacking up some wins, but they will get it when the time is due. I just think the Vikings definitely need this one. And he follows up, said, this is a hard one. This is a very hard one. This is a hard one because I don't think there is a wrong answer. The wrong answer is a tie. A tie kills both seasons. A tie kills everybody's playoff chances. So it cannot be a tie. If anything, in my blood, do not wish for a tie. If you guys wish for a tie, so help me God, I hope you kick the sofa every day for the rest of the week. Stub that baby toe over and over and over again. If you wish for a tie, I hope you drop a pickle jar on your big toe. If you hope for a tie, I hope when you bite into a pickle and you think it's a dill pickle, I hope it's just a sweet pickle and you hate it. If you wish for a tie, I hope you get a pixie stick and the pixie stick is just a little bit wet so it's all crunchy. Do not wish for a tie. But this is a very, very hard one. And Laura says, TJ Hawkinson. I'm excited to get him back. He is a dog. Hawkinson is a dog. I saw Hawkinson back in 2018, 2019 maybe. Kansas City Chiefs played the Detroit Lions. Kansas City Chiefs were undefeated at the time going into Detroit, into Ford Field. TJ Hawkinson was the man, the myth, the legend. I think Matthew Stafford was still there, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really remember for sure, to be honest. But the Lions had the Kansas City Chiefs on the ropes, getting ready to knock off the undefeated team. Hawkinson hurdles, I believe, was Was it Eric Berry? No, it wasn't Eric Berry. Hurdled somebody. Did a front flip, broke his neck. Derailed that whole game. Lions lost because he hurdled. But he is a dog. He is a dog. I hope the Vikings play like they did last time when we played the Colts. I don't remember that game. What happened? What happened? James is asking if JT, Mr. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Jonathan Taylor, is he playing? As far as I know, JT is in. JT is healthy. I have him on my fantasy lineup, so he better be healthy because I'm tired of losing. Who needs a win more in fantasy? Buck. Buck needs a fantasy win right now. I'm like on a 4-game losing streak. I need to flip this away. JT better pay. but I do think he is in. I think JT is in 100% in this particular game. Kaylee says, but remember how good your team really is this year. And talking about the Bengals. Yes, the Bengals are good. And Laura says the Vikings are playing too safe, in my opinion. I mean, 5 interceptions for Sam Darnold this season. He has fumbled the ball 4 times, lost 1. They're playing conservative, but I don't fault it, right? I don't know. Are they playing too conservative? I'm going to dive into the Sunday night game. Probably watch it twice, if not 3 times, before we talk about it on Monday. And I'm curious to see if they're actually playing too conservative. Mark D says Vikings are fungiza. What? I don't even know what that means. Fugazi. Funzaya is an American post-hardcore band formed in Washington, D.C. in 1986. But the actual definition is faked or damaged beyond repair. So Mark is saying that the Vikings are fool's gold. They were fake to us, and they're not going to ever get better. So it is a fool's gold that's never going to be real gold, no matter how much time you paint it gold. Okay, and I can agree with that to an extent. I'm going to dive deeper into it when we get into the old contenders or pretenders coming up here on hour number 2, which is about 5 minutes away. Wow, already an hour in. Wow. Laura says it's number 33 on her jersey was Dalvin Cook before he went to 3. Why did he ever change his number? That's dumb. That's dumb. And Laura says, I never want a tie. Good. You've been saved. You have been saved for ridicule for another day. You've been saved for ridicule for another day. Fungizi equals fake. I know. I just looked it up. I just did the Urban Dictionary look it up. But apparently, Fungazi is I'm saying it right. Fugazi was an American post-hardcore band formed in Washington, D.C. in 1986. The band consists of guitarist and vocalist Ian McKay and Guy Pacheco. So, they are a post-hardcore band. What is a post-hardcore band? Meaning like they're like, hardcore used to be cool back in like the 50s, but now we're going to be hardcore. I don't know. That seems weird. Post-hardcore. I don't know what that means. Whatever. It's dumb, but fake. All right. Moving on. Rams versus Seahawks. This is a game that kind of has me very, very intrigued this season. This is a game that is in the beginning of the season when you saw it's like, whatever. It is what it is. They'll be battling for last place. They're both not very good. They're just not very good, right? And that is true going into week 9. They are battling for last place. They're third and fourth respectively in the NFC West. But the NFC West is very, very tight. First place is the Arizona Cardinals, sitting at 4-4. Last place is 3-4 in the LA Rams. So literally a half a game to a game separating everybody in the NFC West. So this is a very pivotal game. Like I said, the LA Rams are currently in last place in the NFC West, sitting at 3-4 on the season. However, most of the season they've been without Cooper Kupp and Pakuka. I'm saying his name wrong. I'm sorry. They've been out of them for the most of the season, but now they're both back. Starting to look good. Beat the Minnesota Vikings last Thursday. The Seahawks started out 3-0. Then they lost 3 in a row. And since then, they went to Atlanta. They beat the Falcons. And last week, they lost to the Buffalo Bills at home. That puts them currently at 3rd place in the NFC West. Look at the schedules moving forward. The Seahawks play a tough slate of games. They play the 49ers, Cardinals, Jets, and the Cardinals again. I don't like these back-to-back or these 2 back-to-back teams in 3 weeks. I think that's stupid. It definitely hurts the Seahawks moving forward. The Rams play the Dolphins, the Patriots, Eagles, and Saints in the upcoming weeks. So when we look at the schedule, we know their record. We know how the NFC West is performing right now. Who needs this game more? Who needs to go out there and have a staple win in this week 9? Just like the Colts-Vikings game, this is a toss-up. If I could waffle around the answer, I would waffle till I'm blue in the face, but I'm going to give you a direct answer. That's not the way we do it here. We give answers. Let's just be honest. Everybody wrote off the LA Rams after their rough start. After the rough start, everybody's like, the Rams are a flash in the pan. Trade Cup, get Matthew Stafford out of there, put in Jimmy G, right? They are done. Rebuild is on in LA. But since that win on Thursday Night Football versus the Minnesota Vikings, this team really has people buzzing. The Rams have people talking. The people have Rams thinking, okay, maybe they can come back. Maybe they can win a down NFC West. Maybe they can make a playoff push. But the Rams are still a bad team. No matter how you twist it, how you put it, the Rams are still a bad team. Their defense is terrible. Worse than the Baltimore Ravens. Seahawks start off hot. But then they got cold. A little bit injured. Now they're starting to get back on right? They're starting to get back on the track. So I think, personally, who needs this game more? It's the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks need this game more. They need to string some wins together. I believe it was the Colts, or James that said the Colts need to start stacking some wins. The Seahawks need to start stacking some wins together. They're playing 4 divisional games in the next 5. 4 divisional games of their next 5. This is huge for the playoff aspirations. This is huge for your division crown. The Seahawks have to beat the Rams this week. This is a must-win situation for the Seahawks. Because coming off a loss to the Buffalo Bills at home is tough. You have to beat the Rams, a team you're supposed to beat, a team that is bad, a team that is down. You have to beat this team. And then you have to jump on the 49ers early. Then you have to beat the Cardinals twice. It's actually 5 division games out of the next 6. It is tough for the Seahawks right now. They have to win this game. This is a must-win situation for the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith has to ball out. So, guys, in the comments below, who needs this game more? Who needs to win this game more? Is it the Seattle Seahawks or the LA Rams? Da-da-da-dum. Laura's like, I was 3 when that band was formed. Laura, I wasn't even born yet. You guys are talking about that band. I like it. The Rams back. Cam's back just beat the Vikings. Laura, I'm giving you a chance to edit that comment. I don't know what you're saying. Laura says, I want the Seahawks to win. The Seahawks are my second favorite team. So, Laura, but are they in a must-win situation here? I mean, I would like the Seahawks to win as well. I would love to see the Seahawks dethrone the 49ers in the NFC West, and I think it starts this week. It starts to get hot, right? Playing 5 division games in 6 weeks is tough for any team. Definitely need this win. I think the Seattle Seahawks need this win more because I think the Rams, they're gaining that buzz, but I think they're still off there. They're still off the radar bar a long shot. Seahawks start off 3-0, 3 losses in a row. Win-loss the last 2 weeks. Let's get on track. Let's start stacking those wins up. And I think it starts this week. James Frank says the Seattle Seahawks need this win. They're a great team and have potential to do great in the playoffs. They do. The Seahawks are kind of like the Falcons in the playoffs, right? The Seahawks have a team that is built for the playoffs. Nice running game, a decent defense, and a quarterback that's not going to suck, right? They can definitely do some work. And she says, yes. As much as I love my Seahawks, as much as they're my second team, they need to win this game more. They need to win this game more. So, Laura, since the Vikings are your favorite team, the Seahawks are your second favorite team, how did you like when the Seahawks gave all that money to Matt Flynn for him just to sit on the bench behind Russell Wilson? Is that too soon still? Is that too soon? Did Matt Flynn have another 500-yard game? Like, oh, we need this guy. Because I know exactly how you feel, Laura, when the Kansas City Chiefs did that to Matt Castle. Matt Castle came in for an injured Tom Brady, had a decent year. We're like, let's give you $500 billion to come and win us 4 games. I'm just saying. It still hurts my soul that we wasted so much time on Steve Bono and Matt Castle as a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Good Lord, I still hate myself for watching those games. DK Metcalf in the playoffs is scary. You know, James, I don't think so. I think DK Metcalf had a nice little run. Chased that guy down, ran like 24 miles an hour. But since then, what has he really done? If I'm playing the Seattle Seahawks, I am going to look at the roster, and when I look at their roster as a defensive coordinator, I am going to, who are players that can beat us? And when I look at the Seattle Seahawks roster and names, I'm going to start at the top. Number 1 is I got to stop Kenneth Walker III. Got to stop him. Got to stop the running game. And the running game involves Chardonnay as well. So right there, off the top, Kenneth Walker and Chardonnay. Those are my 1-2. I got to stop, right? Next up, it's not going to be DK. It's going to be a receiver, but it's not going to be DK. It's going to be Tyler Lockett. Take Tyler Lockett out of it. Tyler Lockett is that X factor. Tyler Lockett is that Brandon Ayuk. Tyler Lockett is that D-Hop. Tyler Lockett is the guy that flies under the radar, but all of a sudden you're like, man, that guy has like 12 catches for 115 yards. What happened? 2 tutties. And then number 4, JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Then I'm worried about him. Still not DK. So we got Kenneth Walker III, Charbonnet, Tyler Lockett from the Kansas State University. There's my helmet. Let's go, baby. Then we got Smith-Njigba. And then, still not even DK. Then I'm worried about Noah Fant, the tight end. And then it's DK. So DK might be scary to you in the playoffs, but to me, I'm not worried about him. You know what? Let him do his thing. Actually, you know what? Don't let him do his thing. Let him drop the balls that he knows he does. And then let him get pissed off and then corrupt the rest of my team. Right? Maybe you're right, James. Maybe I should put DK as my number 1 guy. Shut him down. Take him completely out of the game. Let him self-implode and take around the rest of the team. DK in the playoffs, I'm not scared of DK. And Laura says, no comment about Matt Flynn. No comment. No comment. The Njigba is fire. He is pretty good. Isn't he from Ohio State? Jackson Smith-Njigba. Yep. From the Ohio State, second year. Drafted in 2023. First round pick. 20th pick overall. I like him. I like him. So we talked about the Falcons and Cowboys, Colts and Vikings, Rams and Seahawks in this next game. This next game that we've talked about kind of a lot this week, honestly. We talked about this game about being a trap game for the Ravens, right? Lamar Jackson may not play in this game. He's been injured all week, has not practiced. Now, they're saying it's like an ankle and a back injury, but it is what it is. I think it's all fluff. I think Lamar Jackson is going to play, but when we look at this Denver Broncos game versus the Baltimore Ravens, who needs this game more? Who is in a must-win situation come Sunday, week 9? The Broncos. 10th in my power rankings, sitting at 5-3 on the season, second place in the AFC West. They are in the thick of the playoff race. They are in the thick of the AFC playoff race. They're doing good things in Denver right now. The Ravens are sitting at 5-3 on the season. Start off 0-2, had 5-game winning streak, and then they dropped a heartbreaker 2 with the Browns, but they are firmly in the second place spot in the AFC North. That's right, I said second, behind the best team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Broncos have a rough little stretch coming up. They play the Chiefs, they play the Falcons, they play the Raiders, and then they play the Browns. Chiefs and Raiders are both on the road. Falcons and Browns are both at home. The Ravens have the Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, Eagles in the upcoming 4 weeks. So when we look at the schedule, we see what they've done, we see what they're going to do. Who needs this game more? Who needs to win this game more? And earlier this week, when we spoke about this game, I said the Ravens were in a must-win spot. The Ravens were in an opportunity to, if they lose this game, that they could lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row. I was worried they were going to start second-guessing themselves. I was worried they were going to change everything that they've been doing and start back to square one. And that was bad news for the Baltimore Ravens. The reason why I said that was because they bring in Deontay Johnson, right? They bring in Deontay Johnson. And I thought they were going to, they needed to win this game to solidify, yeah, he's here, but we're still going to do what we want. But no matter if the Ravens win, lose, or draw in this game, they still have playoff dreams. No matter the outcome, they are going to be in the playoffs come in 2 months, right? Win, lose, or draw, the Ravens are going to be A-okay. The Broncos, however, have been achieving all season long. Their defense is playing top-notch. Offense is getting better each and every week, but I feel they have been overachieving all season long. They have a huge showdown versus Kansas City next week. Don't be overlooking the Ravens into the Chiefs. They shouldn't be, but let's just say they do it, right? If the Broncos want a chance at the playoffs, if the Broncos think they can make it to the playoffs this season, they need to win this week for the Baltimore Ravens. They need to go into Baltimore, they need to compete, and they need to win. And if they don't do it this week, they need to do it next week versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos need this win more. The Broncos need to go into Baltimore, Maryland, and the Broncos need to play a damn good football game, and the Broncos need to beat the Ravens. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm not worried about the Ravens moving forward. They always find ways to win. They always find ways to make it into the playoffs. Pending a season-ending injury by Lamar Jackson, they will get 9, 10 wins, 11 wins this season. It's going to happen. I'm going to take it from James once again. The Broncos need to start stacking wins. Yes, they're playing good football. They're 5-3. Defense is ranked number 2 in the NFL. Bo Nix and the offense is getting better each and every week. They go into putting 9 points a game up to 30 points a game, right? They are scoring at will. They need to continue that. They need to continue that versus a great team like the Baltimore Ravens. Because, let's just be honest, Mark D said it best himself. Who have the Broncos played this season? Who have the Broncos beaten this season? Yeah, they're 5-3, but who have they played? Who have they beaten? It's time to put some statement wins out there. It is time to put a staple on the Denver Broncos season. It starts this week. That's why they're in a must-win situation. Guys, in the comments below, I know you're watching over there on YouTube Shorts and YouTube.com and, of course, Facebook.com. We are live every Monday through Friday, 1:30 East Coast time, here live for 2 hours. Live interactive show. I see all the comments. Who needs this game more? James Frank says the Broncos need it more. And I think the Ravens get upset again. Bo Nix has a great game against that busted Ravens defense. And James, I concur with that. I concur with everything that you just said. We have spoke a lot about the Ravens this week. I have done a lot of research on the Ravens this week. Their defense is terrible. Their defense is terrible. And Bo Nix and the Broncos are improving each and every week. Ever since that Jets game, was it 10-9, I think, in that rainy day, and the Jets defense was supposed to be so great, yada, yada, yada. Bo Nix had a terrible game, like 97 yards passing. Terrible. He's improved each and every week. That offense is getting more confidence each and every week. And then, yes, the Ravens defense is busted, but they still got that Ravens name on them, right? The Ravens name carries a lot on defensive standards, right? Beating a team like the Baltimore Ravens is going to really catapult you. When we talk about building foundations, building a culture like we were talking about the Falcons earlier, the Broncos are building a foundation. The Broncos are building a culture, and this win would be great for the culture, great for their foundation and a great catapult into the Kansas City Chiefs game. The Kansas City Chiefs did beat the Ravens by a toe in week 1. It was about a 7.5-inch toe, but it was still a toe, right? And if the Broncos can beat the Ravens by more than a toe, confidence is killer in the NFL. Confidence is killer. Laura says, I am torn on this one too. And that is what makes this so exciting, so compelling to talk about, is that you can make arguments for either team. You can say, yeah, the Ravens need it more because they lost to the Browns. Then they play the Steelers, and then they play the Eagles, and they do this. And that's what makes it so tough. And what makes it so fun. Makes it so fun. And that's why I love NFL. This is why I love football. James Frank says, I'm saying the game is no significance really to the Ravens. Henry will win games in times of importance. This game is important, James. This game could keep the Ravens out of the AFC North title. So it's definitely important, but I do agree with the Broncos. Arnell Mitchell is in the chat. Arnell Mitchell says, are the Jets for real? We'll be talking about the Jets. And 2 topics, we'll be talking about the New York Jets. So, like Arnell, stay around and we'll be talking about your Jets. They are on the contenders or pretenders list here on Friday. Every Friday, we talk contenders and pretenders. I got a little list right here, and we have some borderline teams, and the Jets fell on that contenders or pretender list. We're talking about the Jets. James says, any given Sunday that the Ravens defense call all channel their inner Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, that's the Ravens defense. Right now, they're not, though. Right now, they're not. Laura says the Ravens need it more because they are purple. No real reason behind that. I just like the color purple. Every team that has purple or lime green in their uniforms need to win this weekend, says Laura. And also the Chiefs suck. That is what she's really saying. She says, I don't really care anything about the Chiefs. Chiefs just suck. So, guys, let's go back through here. Falcons versus Cowboys. Who needs the game more? I'm saying the Falcons. Vikings versus Colts. Who needs this game more? I'm saying the Vikings need this game more. Seattle Seahawks versus the Rams. Who needs it more? I'm saying the Seahawks. And then the Ravens versus Broncos. Who needs this more? I'm saying the Broncos. So, guys, that's been Who Needs It More Friday. I think this is a segment we might continue on moving forward, but it is time to get into a special time of day. It is time to get into what we do every Friday, and we go out there and we determine who is a contender and who is a pretender. Last week, we've been covering the Commanders a lot. They finally jumped up in there and did the contender list, but we'll see if they start to drop back down. This week, we have 4 new teams that we have yet to talk about on contenders or pretenders. We got the Houston Texans, we got the New York Football Jets, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Minnesota Vikings. So we're going to go through each team to determine if they are contenders and if they are, in DAC, pretenders. Now, when we do this, the contender and pretender list, let's put a staple on it. Let's determine what is considered a contender. A contender is somebody that could make it into the playoffs and win a playoff game or 2. A contender is somebody that you can really justify and say, hey, you know what? They are a really, really good team. And pretenders are a team that's like, you know what? They've been playing good. They're winning some football games, but I am not sold on them yet. I am not sold on anything that they're doing. So that is a contender and pretender. That's a little caveat. I should probably put a little disclaimer of like, what is a contender and what is a pretender? But honestly, it could be fluid from week to week, right? It could be fluid, right? And it's my show. I do what I want. But contender or pretender Friday is officially here. So let's start off at the top. Let's start off the top and let's start with the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, last night was pretty ugly. Let's just be honest. Last night was very, very ugly. They dropped to 6-3 on the season after getting beat by the New York Football Jets on Thursday Night Football. However, despite losing, they're still in first place in the AFC South. They have a 1-game lead in the loss column plus the tiebreaker over the Indianapolis Colts. So that's like a game and a half. Now, we got to ask the question, are the Houston Texans, for the rest of the NFL season, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Guys, earlier this season, back in June or July, when we were going down each NFL schedule and we're breaking it down, we're doing this, we're doing that, we had a day. I believe it was a Friday. It was a beautiful Friday sometime in July. It was about 97 degrees outside. It was a slight breeze from east into west, going about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We had a couple, I'm kidding. But on that show, we had what teams could go from first to last place. A team that won the division last season that could go into last place. And one of those teams that I had on there were the Houston Texans. Not because of what they did in the offseason, not because of their team or this. It was because they had a tough slate of games. They played a really, really tough schedule, right? They overachieved last season, and I think sometimes that stunts growth, i.e. the New York Giants. But when you look at the Texans right now, they are injured. Stephon Diggs is out for the season with the ACL injury. Nico Collins is still on the IR. CJ Stroud got hit/sacked a lot last night. I believe it was like 8 sacks. Something crazy. When you look at last night, Joe Mixon was balling out in the first half. He had 17 carries for right around 80 yards. He finished the game with only 24 carries and 106 yards. Totally abandoned a run. Now, like I said, the Texans do have a 2-game lead over the Indianapolis Colts. 1 game in the loss column and the head-to-head tiebreaker. But looking forward, the Texans do play a team in the Detroit Lions. They do have the Battle of Texas versus the Dallas Cowboys. And then they play division foes, Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars in the next 4 weeks. So, when we talk about the Texans, guys, are they contenders or are they pretenders? And we look at the AFC South. I was expecting the AFC South to be a little bit better. I was expecting the Titans to make a run. I was making the Jaguars not to be terrible, but I think they are pretenders. I think the Houston Texans are pretenders, as I do think they will make the playoffs by default because the Colts are going to piss it away. The Titans suck. The Jaguars suck. They will be a one and done. They will be a one and done in the playoffs. The second half of the New York Jets game showed us who they are without Stephon Diggs. The second half of the Jets game showed us that their passing attack without Stephon Diggs is terrible at best. Yes, CJ Stroud was getting hurt. Yes, Nico Collins was hurt. Their number 1 receiver of the game last night, Robert Woods. I've been on 17 teams and 15 NFL seasons, Robert Woods. That's their number 1 game. And then they shied away from the rushing game in the second half. Why? I don't know, but it was dumb. They leaned on it in the first half, and they shied away from the second half. Now, I don't think they're built to really run the ball that way, but Joe Mixon has had a decent season. You have to give him the ball. No Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs. You have to give Joe Mixon the ball. The sophomore slump in Houston is the real deal. CJ Stroud is not playing great football right now. DeMarco Ryans is not coaching football great right now. The Texans have hit that wall, and I don't think they're going to really power through it, right? They are probably going to go up there, and they're going to get dominated by the Detroit Lions next week. And then the Honolulu flu, the blue flu, is going to affect them versus the who they play next? The Titans. And then, they play the Cowboys and then the Titans. So then at this point, you're losing 3 games. You lost to the Jets, you lost to the Lions, and you lost to the Cowboys. And then you have 2 division games in the Titans versus Jaguars. It could get rough for the Texans quick. It could get bad for the Texans quick. I think they are pretenders. I think they are 100% pretenders. They will make the playoffs by default, but they're going to be one and done. They're going to get blown out. They're going to get blown out and beat down again. And they still have to play the Chiefs. They still got to play the Ravens. I still think they play the Steelers too. It's tough for them moving forward. So guys, are they contenders or pretenders? Kaylee says pretenders. They started undefeated and lost 2 of 3 to bad teams. The Vikings was the only good loss that they had. The Texans are starting to look like the Indianapolis Colts, right? They should have walked all over the Jets last night. They should have. They played down to the competition. They play up to the competition. They play down to the competition. You can't do that. You cannot do that if you want to be a contender. And James Frank says they are contenders still. They are still contenders. If the injury bug, however, keeps hitting them, then I'll change my mind. CJ Stroud looked lost last night. I believe was one of the first games I've seen that Stroud did not have his swag and confidence in him. And James to second that, he did not have Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, right? And Stephon Diggs is out for the rest of the season. Nico Collins is supposed to be coming back at some point, but will he be rusty? Will he even be in shape? Will he even be a factor? And if both of those things are not working, it could be a long 8 weeks. It could be a long rest of the season. And Laura says, I second that, Kaylee, meaning the only good loss was to the Vikings. And if you guys want to really take credibility of what Laura is saying, she says, I hope the Vikings lose the rest of the season. Would losing to the Vikings even be a good loss then? Because Laura, I love you, but you say your Vikings are awful right now. They're bad. They're not playing good football. So would that even be a good loss at at this point? I don't know. I'm just not trying to dog you, but I'm just saying, like, can't have it both ways. Have it both ways. James Lynn says, oil me the F up, baby. Okay. Every time here on YouTube, you guys like to talk about baby oil and Diddy party, so whatever. Keep it up. You do you guys. James says, valid point. It might be scary hour for the Texans. I withdraw them from being contenders. There we go. I think they are pretenders. Next up, we do have the New York Football Jets. We had the New York Football Jets fresh off the win over the Houston Texans last night on Thursday Night Football. The Jets have now moved to 3-6 on the season with the win. They are currently sitting 10th. That's right, 10th in the AFC playoff standings and second in the AFC East. So we got to ask the question, are the Jets contenders or are they pretenders? Can we start to buy into the New York Football Jets after that win over the Houston Texans? Let's flash back to Wednesday. Let's flash back to 2 days ago. I said it, and I'm going to stand by it because I still believe it would have been true, right? If the Jets would have lost to the Houston Texans, there would have been a fire sale. We would not be talking about the New York Jets at all, except for Devontae Adams going here, Mike Williams going here, Alan Lazard going here, even though he's on IR now, Kinlaw going here, Reddick going here. They were going to have a fire sale. But they ended up beating the Houston Texans. They played terrible in the first half. Aaron Rodgers was 7-14 for 32 yards or something crazy like that. Terrible. Let's not even talk about the first half. But the second half, he balled out. The Jets finally showed up. The Jets finally looked like a team that they could potentially beat. Hashawn Reddick finally had an impact. Garrett Wilson, get this man a beer. 2 amazing one-handed catches. One of them pretty much could have changed the outcome of the Jets season single-handedly. And let's not forget about the Devontae Adams to Aaron Rodgers connection. Finally back on the thing, right? It was press coverage by number 24. Nice position. Devontae's like, tut, over the top, tutty, baby. It was amazing. It finally made me smile. Aaron Rodgers looked like he was having a little bit of fun. Now, I feel for the Jets to make the playoffs. For any team in the AFC in general to make the playoffs is going to take a minimum of 9 wins. The Jets are sitting at 3-3. 3-6, I'm sorry. To make it to the 9-win marks, they have to go 6-2 for the rest of the season. So, guys, are the New York Jets, are they contenders or are they pretenders? I've been going back and forth on this. I've been going back and forth on this on my head all show long. I knew this was coming, and I kept going back and forth. I have this wrote down, but then I'm leaning to this side. But then the more I lean to this side, I'm like, but those are all very valid statements. So I'm going to go with what I wrote down. I'm going to go writing down what the Jets are pretenders. The Jets are pretenders. We wrote them off well before this Houston Texans game. They were dead to us. Their fire sale, yada, yada, yada. Houston Texans play probably the worst football they have in 5 years. They looked terrible last night. That whole game in general was terrible. The New York Jets, guys, are pretenders. I think they have to go 6-2 for the rest of the season to even have a shot at the playoffs, to even to sniff the playoffs, right? Yes, I understand they're sitting at the 10th seed right now, but that's just because they played an extra game over everybody else. So slow it down, baby. They're at the 10th spot because they have an extra game. They played Thursday. Plus their bye week is until week 12, like another 2 weeks. So slow it down. Slow it down. And let's look at the rest of their games. Yes, they play a lot of winnable games versus the Cardinals, versus the Colts, versus the Jaguars, versus the Rams. We don't know what we're going to get for the Miami Dolphins quite yet, but then they play the Buffalo Bills, right? Yes, the Buffalo Bills will probably have the division and their seeding locked up by this Week 17 game, but they still play the Seahawks. Seahawks are still a pretty good team. And it is not and it's not out there to think that the Jets could go 6-2, beating those winnable teams. The Dolphins, the Cardinals, Colts, Jaguars, Rams, right? They could very well do that and just lose to the Buffalo Bills and the Dolphins one game, right? But I just cannot buy into them yet. I cannot buy into anything of what the Jets have put out to me yet. The Jets historically go 7-10. Zach Wilson is still the winningest quarterback over Robert Saleh's 10 year, right? Guys, the Jets are pretenders. I cannot buy into the Jets at all. So, guys, in the comments, are the Jets contenders or are they pretenders? Laura says, why are we talking about can I bury Aaron Rodgers? Listen, Laura, for the first time in a long time, I listened to Aaron Rodgers' post-game interview with the Thursday Night Football crew, right? And for the first time in a long time, I heard Aaron Rodgers saying, I sucked. Now, he did that before he said anything else. Granted, he did say, I sucked, even though such and such dropped his pass, right? But I missed him on a few, how did he, he worded it? He said, I played terrible in the first half. I missed a couple throws to Devontae Adams, but then he made it up to me by dropping one, right? So always kind of that sneak dish in there, right? But this is the first time in a long time, I think ever, that I've heard Aaron Rodgers take blame first of what he's doing. Maybe Aaron Rodgers came out of the darkness into the light. Poi all day, right? Maybe he has finally realized, hey, maybe I have been the issue. And if that is the Jets' MO, Aaron Rodgers standing up for what he did wrong, right? Maybe they can turn this around. But I still think they're pretenders. Kaylee says no. They are still off to a slow start. Rodgers is pretty much done for. Adams and Rodgers duo aren't the duo that they used to be. They are pretenders. Listen. Father Time is undefeated, right? Father Time has never lost a battle. Even with Tom Brady. Yes, the old mighty one with all the acupuncture and eating all the healthy food, right? Father Time is undefeated. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers is 3 years past that last catch that they had? 4 years, whatever it's like it's been. It will never be as good as it used to be, but you have to admit, Kaylee, that pass to Devontae Adams, I think it was 4th down, right? 4th and 3. Boom, boom, boom. Wide open. Tutty. That was a thing of beauty. I loved it. James Frank says, I'm going to say they're contenders. The Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams connector is going to get better and better and better. Garrett Wilson is a dog, and that defense ain't that bad. Look out for the New York Football Jets. And James, this was why I was conflicted about, right? Hassan Reddick. This is his second game back. First game, no impact whatsoever. This game, he was getting pressure on the quarterback. He actually took that right tackle picked him up and pushed him into C.J. Stroud. Yes, he did not get credit for the sack, but he made that sack, right? He had a couple big plays on the outside as well. The one thing that's holding the Jets defense back right now is their head coach, is their defense, and is also their defensive coordinator. He needs to separate those duties, delegate that to somebody, and if he can do that, they'll be fine. They'll get back get back on track. The Jets defense is what will make or break the rest of this season. And they were banking on a great defense, right? They had a great defense last year, great defense previously, right? Ever since Sauce Gardner has been a Jet, they've had a really good defense. If they can do that, if they can continue to do that, they will be fine, and they might be contenders. But that was what I was conflicted about. Yeah, we know Aaron Rodgers probably don't do his thing. Garrett Wilson's going to do his thing, but can that defense finally come back and step up? Can that defense finally be a top 5 defense that they can be? That's the biggest question. Holt Bros is in the chat, says, I like your content. Keep what you're doing. Thanks, Holt Bros. I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate the love. And Kaylee says, I kind of agree with what James is saying. I kind of agree with it. Ugh. Okay. My man Junis Howard in the chat says the New York Jets are pretenders. Despite the win, they're still pretenders. I agree. Going 6-2 for any team is tough, but it can be done. It has been done, i.e. Buffalo Bills just last season, right? It can be done. Will it? So help us God, if this does happen, what's his face from Get Up? Is going to be like on cloud 9. He's going to be jacking off everybody. And Laura says, pretenders, enough said, move on. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Derek's in the chat. What's up, Derek? He says, all I need is Adams to be an all-pro. Takes a third round pick into a second round pick. Interesting. I didn't know that. 1777, Mary Burley, Larry Sports Talks in the chat says, Texans played like they were told Jets needed to win. The Texans did not show up last night. It's a very, very ugly game. Honestly, we've been kind of spoiled with Thursday night games so far this season, right? We've had some really good Thursday night games. But there's a reason why I hate Thursday night games. There's a reason why a lot of America hates Thursday night games. It's because we get games like this. We get games mid-season. Teams are tired. The 4-day turnaround is tough. You get a vanilla defense, a vanilla offense, and this is what we get. This is why Thursday night games suck, period. That's why they should be out the window. They should be on Thanksgiving only. Air the Detroit Lions in the morning, the Dallas Cowboys in the afternoon. No more Thursday night games. Because if the Houston Texans were able to get the Friday, Saturday rest and preparation, it would have been a totally different game, and we wouldn't be talking about the New York Jets at all. Thursday night games have got to go. Thursday games have got to go. And James says, I am not withdrawing from this one. Standing by what I say. Good. I like it. Larry Sport Talk says, Rodgers made $2 million during last night's game. He is the real winner. Also, Robert Sala's a real winner too, making $50,000 a day by not doing nothing. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Larry Sports Talk, we need to link up, man. I think I've seen your stuff be for. Kaylee says, it was a good throw. I ain't going to lie. Kaylee says, the Adams to Devontae was a good throw, but they still suck. Larry says, you are getting fooled, man. The game was rigged and fixed for the Jets. And here we go. The NFL is not rigged. The NFL is not fixed. Larry, I thought I liked you until you said that. The NFL is not rigged, guys. It's not rigged. It's not fixed. Come on. You're better than that, Larry. James says, wait till Sauce and the gang start to getting turnovers. That's what they need. They need a little bit of swag. They need a little bit of mojo. They need to get those little pick sixes, a little bit of scoop and score. But most importantly, they need some sacks. Get some pressure on the quarterback. They did that last night for C.J. Stroud. 8 sacks last night. Got hit like 15 times. It is what it is. And Laura says, they only won because it was a Thursday night game. Thursday night game sucks. But Junis is like, hey, I like Thursday night games. Junis, I would like Thursday night games if the NFL did this caveat. First of all, you can only play one Thursday night game a season. Let's make this caveat for Thursday night games moving forward. You can only play one Thursday night game a season. But when you do play that Thursday night game, you have a bye week previous week. So since they played in week 9, the Houston Texans and Jets would have had a week 8 bye week, giving them plenty of time to get ready for this Thursday night game. Giving them plenty of time to get healthy, put in a good game plan, right? Do this, do everything that they can to get ready for a Thursday night game. And then you have 10 days off to the next game. That's the only way I will ever buy into Thursday night games, is if they add that caveat. And the fact now that they're doing Christmas Day games and Black Friday games and this, and this, like, they're getting a little overboard. Let's go back to Sunday, Mondays. If you want to play Thursdays, awesome. Make the teams that are playing the previous week have a bye week, and then everything will be good in the world. But other than that, get Thursday games out. Tired of Thursday games. I'm tired of it. Next up, Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. Are we really talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, about them being contenders or pretenders? Answer to that question is yes. The answer to that question is yes, because the Cincinnati Bengals are 3-5 on the season. The Cincinnati Bengals do have a showdown versus the Las Vegas Raiders at home this weekend. And they are currently sitting third spot in the tough AFC North. Many people deem the AFC North the best division in football, but slow it down, baby. So when we look at the Cincinnati Bengals, guys, sitting at 3-5 on the season, going to probably beat the Las Vegas Raiders, making them 4-5 on this season. Are they going to be contenders or pretenders? Are they contenders or pretenders in Cincinnati? Is the Orange and Black contenders or pretenders? The Bengals started out the season 0-3. That's right, 3 straight losses. Now, they did play well against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the other 2 games, they got pretty much shit-showed. They lost to the Patriots on opening night. What? Then they lost to the Chiefs. Bengals always play the Chiefs well. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is in the water, but they always compete well. It was a very competitive game. They lost 25-20, I believe it was. And then they lost to the Commanders. On hindsight now, that was a good loss. The Commanders are a really, really good team, but at the time we're like, the Commanders, the Patriots, and the Chiefs, what is going on here? Now, they did bounce back, and they beat the Panthers the following week, in week 4, but then they lost to the Ravens the week after that. So starting out the season 1-4. Tough way to start the season. But their last 3 games have been a lot better. The last 3 games they have wins over the Giants and Browns, and then they would like to have that Eagle games back. They would like to have that game back and play it again, because they did not end the way they wanted it to. But like I said, they're sitting at 3rd place in the AFC North right now, but they do have a lot of winnable games ahead of them. They play the Raiders, they play the Cowboys, Titans, and Browns, just to name a few. Just like the Jets and just like the Dolphins, guys, I think they're going to need 9 wins to make it into the playoffs. So, can the Cincinnati Bengals, sitting at 3-5 right now, win 6 more games and be contenders in the AFC? Guys, they are pretenders. The Cincinnati Bengals are pretenders. Yes, they do have some winnable games. Yes, they should win versus the Raiders this week. Yes, they should beat the Browns the following week. Yes, they should beat the Cowboys and Titans. But the Cincinnati Bengals know their faith. The Cincinnati Bengals know that they are not going to be a very good team in the postseason. If they were even to make a postseason run, they're going to be a one and done. So they're out there, they're trying to look forward to 2025. Look forward to 2026. They're out there shopping T. Higgins right now. T. Higgins is the X factor for this team. Without T. Higgins, Jamar Chase doesn't go. Without Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow doesn't go. They're out there shopping T. Higgins. Yes, I understand the last 4 or 5, 6 seasons, they started out 0-2 or 1-2. And then they get hot. Then they make a playoff run. And then they make a Super Bowl run. I get it. But this season is different. This season just feels a little bit different, and I don't see it. besides those games that I listed, they still have to play the Ravens again. Yes, they took the Ravens into overtime. They should have won that game, but yet they didn't. It's still going to play the Steelers twice, the best team in the AFC North. Still going to play the Browns. Browns are a pretty good team. Let's just be honest. And then the Broncos. They might be able to battle in those games and keep it close, but they're not going to win. They might go out there and they might compete and be a 25 to 20 score week after week after week, but they're not going to win. The Cincinnati Bengals are not built this year to win games. I don't know if it's the loss of Joe Mixon. It is the loss of Tyler Boyd. That was a big loss. But simple fact of the matter is the Cincinnati Bengals are done. Zach Taylor might be done in Cincinnati, honestly. We talk about hot seats. Zach Taylor might be on his way out. But I think they are pretenders. And Kaylee says, do not get me started. They are pretenders AF. Not only are they pretenders, they are the biggest pretenders out there. You can put makeup on a pig and make it look beautiful, but it's still a pig. And James Frank says they are pretenders. And that's all I got to say about that there. In my best Forrest Gump accent, they are pretenders. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on. James doesn't want to make Kaylee feel bad about herself for being a Bengals fan. James is a Browns fan. So James wants to keep it above the belt. James doesn't want to go below the belt, but I want to go below the belt because Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon was the biggest thing of why the Cincinnati Bengals are sucking this year. They're like, we don't need you, Joe Mixon. We don't need you, Tyler Boyd. Get out of here. We'd be fine just without you. And guess what? You guys suck without them because Tyler Boyd was the X Factor and Joe Mixon was a dog, the myth, and legend. Messed up. You messed up. And Kaylee says it was all over when we lost to the Patriots. Let's flash back 9 weeks ago, week number 1, New England Patriots and Jacoby Brissett come into town and they wax her ass. That's when I knew the season was over, says Kaylee. And Laura's like, I love you, Kaylee, but sorry, they are pretenders. They are not very good. And says, I don't care too much. I agree with anybody that says they're pretenders. Fair weather fan, it sounds like to me, guys. I'm kidding. And James says they will lose to the Raiders. Wouldn't it be something? Has anybody from the AFC West lost to the NFC North yet? I guess the Steelers beat them, right? But it would be funny as hell if the Bengals and Ravens both got swept by the AFC West. I'm just saying. It would be funny. It would be funny. And T. Higgins is injured, but he's still being shopped around. Shopped around. Laura says, if I'm correct, Kaylee, said a lot of things good starters are coming out of this game. And she misses Tyler Boyd. Laura says they need a complete rebuild starting with the head coach. Zach Taylor needs to get out of town. If you look at it, since the Super Bowl, what have the Bengals done? They've given away the team. They haven't improved. The only thing they tried to do was to hurt the Kansas City Chiefs by overpaying for Orlando Brown Jr., the real OBJ. I still love him. Which, did you guys know he's a furry? And I didn't know what a furry was until my sister said, yeah, they're weird people that wear tails. This man, I went to the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey, right? Up in Cincinnati. They were doing something for the college, right? But they did the show. They interviewed Desmond Ridder, which was a Cincinnati alum here from Louisville, Kentucky. Had Joe Burrow and then Orlando Brown Jr. This guy walked up with the tail. First of all, he's the largest human being I've ever seen. Has a fox tail hanging from the side of his pants. I'm like, what in the world? That was just weird. And Derek says, nope, it's not going to happen. They are who I thought they were. James Frank says they'll be lucky to get one more win within the division. I don't think they get one win within the division unless the Steelers or Ravens kind of pack it up like, hey, you know what? You guys can have one. You can have one. Zach needed to go week 1. Not wrong. James says, LOL, he's a furry. Does he wear a Bengals tail? It may have been a Bengals tail, honestly, because it was orange and black. I mean, it was like, not like the Bengals orange, but like a fox orange. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. It was very, 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 very weird. Very, very weird. But next up on contenders or pretenders, the Minnesota Vikings. This Minnesota Vikings team is very, very intriguing to me. They're intriguing because they did start the season off 5-0. They intriguing because they were on cloud 9. They were playing some good football. They're winning a lot of good football games. But since then, they lost 2 games in a row. They're still 5-2 on the season, currently ranked 3rd in the NFC North, but sitting 6th in the NFC playoffs as if they were to start today. So when we look at the 5-2 Minnesota Vikings, are they contenders or are they pretenders? The Minnesota Vikings guys did start off hot. They won a lot of games. 5 games in a row, to be exact. Everybody was saying, Skull Nation. Let's say it with me, Skull, Skull, Skull. I was sitting here saying Skull. I was like, I love me some Minnesota Vikings, but I'm like, hey, slow it down. Week 4, we see some flaws. We see some flaws. Yeah, you guys are on cloud 9. Yeah, we're seeing screaming Skull, Skull, Skull Nation. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of good things, but they have some cracks. They have some cracks. They're putting the ball on the turf a lot. Yes, they're not turning the ball over, but they're putting the ball on the turf a lot. Yes, not Kirk Cousins. See what I did there, Laura? Sam Darnold does only have 5 interceptions this season. He does have 4 fumbles, even though he just lost 1, right? Just lost 1 fumble. Aaron Jones and Jet both have a fumble as well. So they have about 9 to 10 turnovers so far on this season. Not great, but not bad either, right? The offense, middle of the pack, ranked 19th. The defense has been struggling the last few weeks, and their rankings are dropped. They're down to 18th in the defensive ranking. Sitting at 5-2, we talked about if this is a must-win game for them going into the Indianapolis Colts. I think we deemed that this is a must-win for them. But got to ask, are the Minnesota Vikings contenders or are they pretenders? And this is another one that I've been going back and forth on. This is another one that, it's easy to say, yeah, they suck. I told you so, yada, yada, yada. I only had them winning six games this year anyways. They were in a rebuild, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But then I look at their coach. I look at their coach in Kevin O'Connell. This guy wins football games. Look at last year. The Minnesota Vikings were in the heat of the playoff race, vying for that 6th, 7th seed, all the way into week 17 with like a 4-string quarterback. And he still had him in the heat of the battle. With that being said, guys, I think the Minnesota Vikings are truly contenders this year in the NFC. They will win a lot of games moving forward. I was down on them this season. I didn't think Sam Darnold was the guy. I thought he was going to be benched by week 12. Insert JJ McCarthy, right? But at this rate, Kevin O'Connell is 100% factual the coach of the year. Kevin O'Connell is a great coach, and seems to be a great motivator. He gets this team rallied to play each and every week. They have 5 very winnable games in front of them. The Indianapolis Colts. They can and should beat the Indianapolis Colts. The Jaguars, terrible. The Titans, terrible. Bears, a very winnable game. The Bears blew their mojo last week versus the Commanders. The Bears are done. Yes, the Cardinals are 4-4, sitting top of the NFC West right now. But there's another winnable game. We could see the Minnesota Vikings being 10-2 going into week 13 very easily. They could very easily double the amount of wins that I thought they were going to be by week 13. That's just facts. Then they have a measuring stick game versus the Atlanta Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks in week 13 and week 14. Games they should win and definitely could win. As they will not win the division. They will not even be probably second place in that division. They will make it to the playoffs. They will make it to the playoffs, and they will upset somebody in the wild card game. Whether it be the Packers, whether it be the Bucs or the Falcons, they're going to upset somebody as a 6th seed or a 5th seed in the playoffs. Guys, the Minnesota Vikings are
contenders.
I know we want to dog them. I know I told you that it would not shock me one bit if they lose 3 games in a row after losing to the Detroit Lions. And I still believe that. It would not shock me. But I think Kevin O'Connell has this team's head right. I think Sam Darnold has been there, done that, and he doesn't want to go through that anymore. Anytime you are part of a losing franchise, when you get drafted there and you just suck and they chip you out and then you become a really good franchise like on the San Francisco 49ers and an insert into the Minnesota Vikings where they thought you're going to be bad, but you're doing you're doing good. You don't want to go back to what you did. You do not want to be back on the New York Jets. You do not want to be back to being a bad team. Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell, JJ, Addison, Aaron Jones, and the rest of those guys are going to do everything they can to be great. And I think they are. I think that's why they are contenders. So, guys, in the comments below, are the Minnesota Vikings contenders or pretenders? James says that is another tough one. But I will say contenders, but on a tight rope. So, James, when you say tight rope, basically the leash is short, right? They are contenders right now, but I'm going to yank that out from under them if they do this. What is that this? Is it lose to the Colts, losing 3 games in a row? Is it play bad versus the Colts but still win, but then lose to the Jags or the Titans? What is that tightrope? When are you going to yank the cord out from under them? Yank the carpet out from under them? And James says, not going to lie, how do you not win with like Jets winning? JJ's a dog. JJ is a dog. And Laura says they're pretenders. That now that they've lost 2 in a row, gosh, I will stand on them, but damn, they need some improvement. I'm still going to say skull till I can't skull no more, but they are pretenders. Laura, I like your honesty, and I like fans like this. I like fans that understand that their team is not very good, but I'm still going to support them. I'm still going to root them. I'm still going to wear my Kirk Cousins jersey. I'm still going to wear my Aaron Jones jersey. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to root for them and pick them to win, but they're just not very good. And I can stand by that. And they do have some flaws. I said this about the Arizona Cardinals back in 2021. I said that about the Philadelphia Eagles last season. They do have some flaws. They do have some cracks. But what is the difference between the Vikings and those teams is they have a great head coach. The Cardinals had Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. Not a very good coach. Not a head coach anymore. He's an offensive coordinator for the Commanders. Great offensive of a coordinator. Weak-minded head coach. Once the crack was exposed by the Packers, that crack blew wide open, and there's nothing that Cliff Kingsbury could do to stop it. Last season, Nick Sirianni, the Philadelphia Eagles. I said the cracks were there, and a team exposed it, blew it wide open. Nick Sirianni could not stop the bleeding. Hell, Nick Sirianni about lost the team again this season. I think Kevin O'Connell is smart enough, has the people around him, has a team around him that, yeah, the cracks are there, but they're putting some dirt into it. They're trying to fill those cracks. They're trying to make those cracks not so bad. I think it is what it is. Derek says they're bouncing back. Better to make those mistakes early in the season than at the end. Exactly. I'd rather be exposed now on my weaknesses than week 17 or 18 or in the playoffs, i.e. Philadelphia Eagles. Tizman Taza says, facts, soccer is football. Okay. Welcome to Europe, I guess. Laura says, I love me some Kevin O'Connell. He's my future ex-husband. That's my line. That's my favorite saying. That's my future ex-wife over there. I love it. Nobody watched that sport except for Americans. Well, that's why we're in America talking about football. But that's why football is greater than anything else in America. Better than soccer, better than baseball, better than basketball. You can add all those 3 sports in together and still does not compare to the NFL football game. It is what it is. Sorry, tease man. And Laura says, no. Slow it down, baby. Vikings will be a first-round dropout as usual. Haven't made it far in the playoffs since Brett Favre. Wasn't it just a couple years ago the Vikings beat the Saints in the wild card game? How far do you want them to go? The championship game every year, Laura? And James says, I will pull the rope under them if they lose to the Jags. I agree. Let's agree. I don't know. And James says, that is loyalty. Sticking by a team that you love, even though they consistently let you down. That's one of the best feelings when you see you guys succeed and play hard. Exactly. Now, I understand people want to dog me for being a Chiefs fan. Oh, you're a bandwagon fan. You do this, whatever. I've been through the hard times. I've been through 3-13 seasons, going to the Super Bowl and lose to the Colts, the 8-8 Colts in the first round at Arrowhead. It sucks. It sucks. James Frank says, I'm sure there's a soccer show you can watch there, buddy. Not wrong. Actually, probably not. There's probably not a lot of soccer shows like this. I don't know. It says, and Lord says, yes, I want to be a chief winner. Chef winner. It is what it is. All right, guys, so it is time for water cooler time. It is time to gather the old around the water cooler, and we can talk about whatever you guys want. This is Man Hour NFL Talk, live, raw, uncut. We got 5 minutes left here show on the Friday night show. We've given you guys, 2-hour shows Monday through Friday. There's 10 hours. We had an hour on Tuesday, so there's 11 hours. We got another 2-hour show lined up for you Saturday night for the NFL Week 9 preview show. Man, that's 10, 11, 13, 14 hours of content we've given you guys this week, and I love it. I love every minute of it. Guys, hope you guys have had a great time, had a great week so far. But let's gather around the old water cooler. Let's gather around the old water cooler. What do you guys want to talk about? Is there anything you guys want to discuss going into the weekend? Is there something you guys that's on your mind? Is there something like, Lord, like, damn it, who keeps putting cold water in my boiling macaroni water? Who keeps doing it? Anything you guys want to talk about? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Laura says, I have enjoyed this. Thank you so much to show Monday through Friday. Laura, you are extremely welcome. And thank you, Laura, for becoming a Pigskin Pundit. That is what keeps us going. Seeing the show grow, seeing outreach people and people interacting with us, that keeps me going. I hope that keeps you going. And I hope I bring a smile into your face. I hope I piss you off. I hope I make you smile. And I hope you have a great agreement. Laura wants to know, how was everyone's Halloween? My Halloween was great. We did Boo at the Zoo last week, right? Did Boo at the Zoo last week. Had a great time. Beautiful weather. We went to a trunk or treat on Wednesday night at the local college here at like Ivy Tech, which was amazing. If you guys ever have a chance to do a trunk or treat, it's freaking awesome. You get tons of candy all in like 10 minutes. It's amazing. And last night we had great fun. We were the Mario Brothers. My wife was Princess Peach. I was Luigi. Had a nice little beer gut going on. Little man was Mario. Of course, my oldest was Bowser. So, Laura, how was your Halloween? Derek, how was your Halloween? Ryan in the chat says, let's go. What's up, Ryan? Ryan, we've been here for 2 hours, man. Where have you been? 1:30 East Coast time, man. Get ready to end the show. And Derek says, who is the biggest trade before the trade deadline? Baron Brownie. I think Baron Brownie is going to be moved to the Baltimore Ravens by Tuesday. Tuesday, November 5th is the trade deadline. It's also voting day. Hopefully you guys get out there and vote. You know, do your patriotic duty. President election doesn't really bother me. Do your local government, right? Mayor, city council, all that stuff. Be sure to vote for that. But I think Baron Brownie is going to be moved. He is a defensive lineman for the Denver Broncos, a pass rusher, edge rusher per se. I don't understand why the Broncos want to move him, but they're actively trying to pursue him. And we spoke on it yesterday, and I think the Ravens, for the defense to improve at all, need that solid edge rusher. You need that edge rusher, and it would help everybody across the board. So I think Baron Brownie is that big. I mean, it's not really a big name, but it's definitely going to be a game-changing trade, right? On both sides. James says that Jadarius Smith to the Lions. Unfortunately, I think it's going to happen. And I saw something on Twitter. Mike Tannenbaum, I think it was, said Detroit Lions get Myles Garrett for 3 first-round picks, Jahmyr Gibbs, and something else. So basically, the Lions were given the Browns 3 first-round picks, Jahmyr Gibbs, plus something else in exchange for Myles Garrett. And people are going, oh, that's the dumbest thing in the world. That's stupid. That is this, yada, yada, yada. But let's just be honest, James. The Browns are in a complete rebuild mode. They are in cap hell, right? Whether Deshaun Watson plays for them next 2 seasons or not is like $80 million dead cap hit. There's no way around it. It's on the books. Can't do nothing about it, but you can try to kick the can down the road for other players, right? That's the main reason why they probably got rid of Amari Cooper. Couldn't afford him, right? They gave him some guaranteed money to make him happy this season, but they could not kick the can down the road anymore. The Browns have to nail next 2 drafts. They need a lot of draft picks, and they have to nail the draft picks to even be warranted. So, if I were the Browns and the Lions offered me 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, I could care less about Jahmyr Gibbs and that 5th-round pick or whatever it was like 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Sign me up. Sign me up, because that could be franchise-changing. Look what it did to the Bears, right? I'm just saying. That could happen. Is that the show? It is the show for today, man. We did contenders or pretenders. We did some must wins. We start at 1:30, Derek, East Coast time now. This is a little bit of water cooler talk. Guys, talk about whatever you want. But yeah, he says, I've been feeling sick the last few days. Get better, man. Get a little bit of water. Get a little bit of rest. Get some toxic things for your feet. Apparently they help. I don't know. Apparently they help. But guys, that is going to be it for the week. Monday through Friday, 1:30 East Coast time, 2 hours a day. Live, raw, uncut NFL talk. Of course, we got Tuesday night after hours with Hoffy and Mark D for the Power Ranking show. And tomorrow, Week 9 NFL preview. All Sunday games. We're going to give you a little bit of keys of victory. We're going to give pick winners. We're going to pick losers. It's going to be a little bit different. I know the last couple things have been a little bit dry. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try to spice it up. I'll be leading the show. Mark D and Hoffy will be there as a right wingmans. Guys, have a great weekend. Second round of sectional playoff game for me tonight. See you guys tomorrow night. We out.